Time for a webbot video. Yes, it is. First, I'm going to read you this email from Jeff. Check out Bitcoin this morning. Joe, have you checked out what Bitcoin is doing this morning? I checked at about 6 a.m. and it was around $450. I went downstairs around 6:40 a.m. to get some coffee and turn on my main PC connected to my HD TV, and then checked it again. It was set 474. Something big is going on in the Bitcoin market, and according to Zero Hedge, it is related to the Chinese easing restrictions on the public's access to the Bitcoin markets. Some food for thought. What do you think is going to happen to the price of Bitcoin if only 0.1% of the Chinese population, which is about 1.4 million, decide to go out and buy just one Bitcoin each? Remember, there are only 20 million Bitcoins that will ever be available, which is true. And they're not all available yet. They're scheduled to run out, and I forget the year now. I remember what it was when I used to talk about Bitcoin a bit more than I do now. But it's like the year 20 something, or I mean, it's years away. So the thing about Bitcoin, well, first let's go back to the webbot. Let me get that out of the way. And I try to think all morning long, because as soon as I woke up, I also looked at the price, and I already knew it was that high. It was 472 when I looked at it, way above 408, where the webbot said to look out for it to hit that number as a precursor event for silver to do a pretty nice vertically up move in price. Now, you will recall two other webbot hits I told you about recently that were on the money, timing, everything was right. The second one that I recall, I'm trying to think if there's two or actually three, but the second one, the first one was the flooding. Before that hurricane even was a blip on the Earth's map, before it even knew it was going to form, webbot already said get ready for some major flooding to take place. Before the hurricane even got near any coast, there was some major mudslide and floodings happening across the interstate, and I believe it was Bakersfield, California. I covered it, showed you the imagery. It was nothing like anyone had ever seen before. Made the news, mainstream news as well. When something goes to that level, that's really when it's definitely considered a webbot hit. Because the webbot says, when you hear, we know in the future you're going to hear about this in the news. It's going to be well known. That's how we make our predictions and tell if they're really happening, because we should hear about this in the news. And he says we don't know necessarily that'll be good news, bad news, or whatever news, just that they're going to be talking about it one way or the other. We can only guess as to what kind of news it'll be, good, bad, whatever. So naturally, you hear the word flooding, you don't have to speculate on if that's going to be good or bad news. Then we had the hurricane come to town after that and flooded all kinds of parts of Texas and Mexico, I think maybe even Illinois or somewhere else. 2 or 3 other states had some flooding due to the massive rainfall because of the outer bands of that storm, which came way down from the most powerful storm ever down to category 1 in almost no time. Nonetheless, it caused major flooding. So that was one of the first hit. The second hit that I remember, which was recently, was webbot said, again in advance, well in advance, that there's some kind of thing in space floating around. It may be remnants of an old Apollo mission. It'll be, or actually it didn't say Apollo mission, I don't think, but it said it may be remnants of something from decades ago that we've rediscovered, in the Earth, and it's or in the atmosphere, above Earth, I should say, not in the atmosphere. And it's floating around. We rediscovered, and it's kind of this unknown thing. And sure enough, I read the news. Oh, we found there's this thing out in space. It's probably been there for decades. They think it's a piece of the old Apollo missions floating around, a piece of rocket, whatever, debris or something. And it's scheduled to come back into re-entry, and burn up in the atmosphere, as well as not burn up completely because it's so large. So it's going to fall down to Earth, and they speculate where they are pretty certain it's going to land in some ocean off of India or something or whatever. I said, oh my God. Someone had mentioned it to me too. I was like, oh my God. Talk about a spectacular webbot hit. Wow, was that on the money? Oh my God, was that on the money? So then, and now keep in mind, are these events like really, really important as far as you and I are concerned? Now naturally you might say, well yeah, the flooding, people could die and houses are ruined, and that is kind of important. Yeah, I agree. But I hate to say it, the whole silver and the economy and death of the dollar thing, that's a tiny bit more important for me than some random areas flooding that do make the mainstream news. And yeah, they're important, and I don't want to see people suffer, but we've been waiting for this silver move for a very long time. And he said, webbot, Cliff High said, based off of his data, here's some short-term or immediacy data showing the following. And I read these reports in summary to you. And we've already had 2 spot-on webbot hits on the money. Timing was right. Immediacy data was correct. Now we have a third one, as of yesterday technically, when the price of Bitcoin blew past 408. I still have the email. Matter of fact, do it live. Do it live. Let me make sure it's still in here. October 19th. Oh, I can't read that one. Keep going. That's not the one I'm looking for. Man, did I delete it? Then again, my phone's not fully up to date with all the most recent mail. Maybe it's up. I'll have to check at work. But I've already explained this in advance anyway, so you already know I've read it to you. But he told me, he said, hey, are you musical? Ode to Joy. Ode to Joy. Should I look up that name? What is that? Sounds familiar. Oh, it's an old Mozart or whatever composition. I said, I know, and I heard this song. Oh, I know that. Yeah, I know that. So I'm like, yeah, okay. But what do you like? What do you mean? What does this mean? And he says, well, the long-awaited silver price, whatever, ode to joy. I think we're going to see a move in October. Prices should move up, followed by a much larger move in late November. But the key, he said, or precursor data shows we should see Bitcoin go from where it's at now, which at the time was about $260-ish for a Bitcoin. We should see it go to about 408 to, I think he said 418 or 417, in that range, which should tell us that the silver prices should make a pretty vertical move later in, well, very late November this year, 2015. So I said, okay, that's interesting statement. Within a matter of days, just a couple of days, I believe, the first large move in silver took place in October, so he got that right. Another day or two went by, it went down a little bit and jumped back up more, bringing it past $16 at the time when it was in the $14 range. That's a pretty big move. If you, again, do the math, $14 to $16 on a percentage basis, that's a pretty big move for, 3 or 4 days of trading or whatever in silver for the prices to move there. So he got that part right. It's like, wow, I emailed him back, man, that was fast. You just called it and here it is. Silver hadn't moved like that in a long time, and here it just happened, and days after he said to look for it. So that happened. So technically that's another webbot hit. So that makes 4, honestly, webbot hits. So the question that I have, that no one is going to be able to answer until we see it, is with 4 webbot hits being correct in a very short period of time, all within the time frame it said, which again is rare because the thing doesn't get the timing right all the time. And it's gotten these ones right on the money. So now we have a fifth and final one that most of us are mostly concerned with, and that's the freaking price of silver. Is it finally going to bust out? Pay attention, mama. And now Jason Niffor gets the red light. You go through the yellow light because you're stopped standing still, bozoing, sheeping off. I get the red light for honking at you, and you go through it. Nice. But that's alright, because I got nothing but time. I'm early, be at work very early this morning. It's all good. So, this could potentially be the fifth recent, and it would be another spectacular webbot hit if we see by the end of November, or even earlier, to be honest, the price of silver make its move. Because the part about Bitcoin hitting the 408 to 417-ish price range shouldn't have actually happened quite yet, according to his interpretation of the data. It should have been at least a couple more weeks out as probably the earliest. There is a little plus or minus time frame when he does these things. It's always been that way, but it's usually a matter of days, several days, plus or minus the time frame he gives. So if he says around the third week of November, plus or minus several days, so let's just call that the third, fourth week, or the second or third week, we're halfway through the first week, so it'd be a little early. Nonetheless, he still got it for the Bitcoin thing. Now, I thought, okay, that one got it right, next one got it right, 3, 4, we're at 4 webbot hits. Being a math, numbers guy, it's looking pretty good that we should have a fifth hit, which will be the price of silver. I'm not holding my breath because the club puts the price of silver where they want it and has shown us each and every time that they can do it when they want to. But damn it, there's been some things going on behind the scenes that just ain't normal. Now, I listened to an interview from King World News yesterday, and it was an interesting fellow that I remember from years ago by the name of Andrew Maguire. And before I tell you what he said, I want to give you some background on this guy from London so you know who he is and why what I say about him in his interview might mean anything. He blew the whistle, was the only guy on the face of the earth that blew the whistle to the CFTC and told them, which is a United States regulatory agency which has been looking the other way on purpose the whole time on market rigging and manipulation in the precious metals market especially, and even more especially silver. And he called them and emailed them and had a little conversation a few times to tell them JP Morgan, their traders, are going to move the market in silver. They're going to push it down. It's going to be on the non-farm payroll this Friday. As soon as that information is released from the non-farm payroll stats, instantly you're going to see the market go down in silver. All traders in London know this, by the way, he says to them. It's a shame that no one else knows this or has figured this out, because people are losing. There's massive money being lost by people while simultaneously the other side is making lots of money by rigging it and doing it. So he had a few conversations with this particular CFTC employee to tell them in advance the market move silver's going to make, which was going to be down, what it would be based off of. One time it was non-farm payroll, the other time it was like the jobless numbers or something else. He nailed that too. And at that point, they had to listen. You can't come out twice in a row and say, I know the exact date and time they're going to smash this metals market, and not be correct in that they're rigging it and doing it on purpose and manipulating the market. Yes, again, JP Morgan. And he named it by their name, JP Morgan. Now, that's funny because supposedly CFTC did this big investigation, took years to conclude, didn't find any wrongdoing, even after Andrew Maguire gave his testimony to them. And when he realized they didn't appear to be wanting to do anything about it, that's when he made his story public. which wasn't very long after he blew the whistle in the first place, but this was several years ago. Now, as soon as he did that, as soon as he made the headwaves, the headlines, Andrew Maguire, he was walking, I believe it was in London, with his wife, him and his wife, and were damn near killed, ran over by a crazy driver right after he gave this testimony. Matter of fact, I take that back. I believe he was en route, however you want to say it, to give more testimony or to do something related to that. And on his way there, almost got ran over and killed by a crazy driver. And I never heard him talk about it again to ask, did they find out who the driver was? Did he get away? What happened? Who was it? Was it a paid hitman? The chances of that are zero, of being a complete accident. So that's a little background about Andrew Maguire. He hasn't come out very often to say anything. But a few years ago, which was still after the whole event of him blowing the whistle, he said he was working with some groups, some new entities, businesses. They're going to be creating a real metals exchange in which he described at the time would suck the fiat dollars or liquidity out of the paper rigging COMEX and London markets. He said, when we release this thing, that's what's going to happen, when this thing's ready to go. So he mentions it in the interview at King World News. I forget the acronym of the name of the company, but I looked it up last night. Oh, that's the one he's talking about. And, coming soon, will be released, ready to trade, whatever, soon. So in the interview, he didn't say when, other than I think we're about to release this thing soon. The market's about to go live soon. And I was hoping he'd say, well, how soon? By chance, the end of November? Maybe? I thought to myself, webbot, end of November, all this stuff, Bitcoin happening. So I emailed them, the info email address at the site, and just asked, hey, is there any chance, do you think, that this, your exchange here will be ready by the end of November or anytime in the near future? To see what kind of response I got. I was just last night, and they're probably in another country, but I hadn't gotten a response. I just checked my email a second ago, but I haven't gotten a reply from them. But I would be floored. I would be freaking floored if I get a response. Yes, we plan on releasing it third week or second week of November. Oh, I'll be right on here. I'll be out here so fast to do a video, it'll make your head spin if I hear that, because then we'll know, oh my God, he was right from what he said years ago, that it's going to suck the paper fiat out of that damn market and crush it once and for all. And again, the other interesting thing is we had a protest at the CME group, the commodities market, handlers, private organization that handles all commodities, including gold and silver. We know that they have the authority and have used it multiple times to change margin requirements for any commodity, and they would viciously attack silver over and over and over again while leaving gold alone, leaving other commodities alone, but nailing silver. If you want to play the game, it's Friday, come Monday or Tuesday at the very latest, you must either liquidate your account or add the additional thousands of dollars to maintain your account, because we just increased margin requirements. And as I said before, anybody who had a contract out there is not going to add more thousands of dollars, more to their account to just maintain their contract, when they know only a few people or percentage, all they have to do is say, I don't want to do that, I'll sell my contract while I can, will cause the price to crash down, thus destroying their contract, their money, because they're going to get a margin call probably, because it's going to go down so much, it'll wreck their account. So they're just, it's a stampede to sell off. And the CME group did this over and over and over again. Sometimes within a matter of days, they did it twice. Oh, first one, second one, to just crush silver. Back when it was $50 and they nailed it to 40, started climbing again, they did it again and brought it down to 30. I mean, this is a drive-by shooting, so to speak. So he had made the comment that when they released their market, he said his prediction was going to be that it would suck the fiat currency, the money, out of that damn rotten COMEX and London exchange to go to their real market where real gold and silver is actually delivered, not this paper charade. So I'm just thinking, if all this happens, we had this protest at the CME group, which was funded by and started by George Soros. You know him. This was not an accident. They didn't choose the CME group of all places to do a protest. That does not happen. The timing is highly suspicious, as I said in my video yesterday. Extremely suspicious. Maybe they know when this exchange is going to come online. And they're preparing in advance with these protests so that when the news comes and the metals and everything break out in price and go crazy, they'll have some kind of modus operandi going in their little side story of protesters got crazy and they shut the exchange down and we've decided that such and such, and while simultaneously Andrew Maguire's exchange is going live and sucking the liquidity out of it, and that's the real reason. I'm speculating 100% here. And to be honest, the chance of what I just said happening as I said it, probably slim to none. But I'm trying to figure out something that makes sense to all of us to say right now. And again, not being on the inside, it's hard to do that no matter who you are. But some interesting things have happened, and that freaking webbot has nailed the rise of Bitcoin. That's the fourth thing now, technically speaking, in a very short period of time that damn thing nailed. All of which is leading me up to, well, that happened and now Bitcoin happened. Then this string of data he's got, that's a timeline, so to speak. And there's a piece coming up next that's highly important to all of us that says silver should be breaking out significantly. Boy. Signs seem to be pointing to that probably being probable, a very highly probable event based off of the other things it has gotten right. One, check. Next one, check. Next one, check. Next one, check. And the fifth and final one that really matters to all of us the most, period, hasn't happened yet. But he said wait till around late November, plus or minus a little time period, small bit of time, because that's the way the webbot works. And again, I'll say it for a millionth time. There's been times where that whole thing applies, and then nothing happened. And then a freaking year later or something, oh my God, there it was. Holy crap. Wow, was that spectacular, but missed it by a year. Sorry, webbot's not perfect. It is what it is. So do you want to throw that tool away, never look at it again? Or hang on to it and say, well, I want to at least know what it says, because sometimes it doesn't get the timing right, but the damn thing that it's talking about that's very important to me, I'd like to know about, and just to have in the back of my mind at the very least, so that if I see conditions saying, okay, it looks like that's about to happen, and then maybe it does happen, maybe I was able to prepare for it some way. Case in point, death of the dollar, US dollar, check. He called that way in advance. Precious metals exploding, people figuring it out. There'll be a remember the webbot recently, multiple times, multiple reports, mad dash to acquire silver. Mad dash to acquire silver, essentially, and in different phrases was that term used throughout the last few reports. But there'd be a panic to get silver, etc. And I read those summaries to you. So, again, I can't sit here and tell you I know 100% that, oh, I know what it is, or it's going to be Andrew Maguire's thing, or I don't know. But I do know some precursor events have happened. The most important precursor event related to silver rising was Bitcoin hitting 408. And it did it earlier than expected, and it blew past it. It was 474, 472 when I looked at it. And I sent myself an email yesterday to say, hey, Joe, like I always do a video on Bitcoin hitting 430 or something. Because it already passed the 407, 408, and 417-ish numbers. I thought, well, that's pretty much past that. I should do a video to say, hey, guys, Bitcoin webbot, we're at 430. And here the damn thing's at 474. As I'm basically doing this video at that time. So, sit back, relax, and as I said before, many times, if you don't have your silver yet, and you're hoping or banking on, well, maybe the club will crash it big time, one last final hoorah before it spikes. I try to give you the best advice that I can give, the safest advice that I can give, that I follow myself. It's my own personal advice. Don't play this like you're trying to play stocks and shares and buy low, sell high, and day trader. No. You don't have silver? Get the freaking silver. What's today? I don't care. Get the silver today. Yeah, but it was down 10 cents. Yesterday it's back up 20 cents. Today I want to wait. No. If you don't have any, get it. If you already have it and have got the amount you wanted and feel comfortable and say, well, I still got a little bit of extra cash, but I really want to see if the club smashes it one last time and then I'll capitalize. You could do that. But after everything that I just said, because of the stuff that I've read, the webbot, all that stuff, and it's been check, 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 I don't know that that's necessarily a good idea right now to wait for a big crash and then a big spike. Because we may be at the low of lows for now for silver and gold, and we don't get no lower, and it just goes, oh my God, something happened today. Oh, silver just jumped to 30. Oh my God, it's 40. Oh my God, it's 60. Holy crap. And if you see that kind of action in the precious metals markets, with taking into consideration the unprecedented demand that has been going on year after year after year after year, even after 2011 when the biggest smash in silver to date has ever occurred, you just see the charts going up and up. Massive demand for precious metals, silver eagles, blowout sales. I just had somebody email me yesterday. I haven't verified this, but he said, I went to my coin dealer who always has coins, and it's a Canadian dealer that had maple leaves. That's their equivalent of the silver eagle for Canada. That's their mint's main coin. And he said there was a 2 to 3 month delay, he was told by his coin dealer, for the Canadian maple leaves, because they're selling out of control. Just like our silver eagles have been selling out of control. And there have been also delays with ours and theirs, etc. So you take that and then you do 2011 all over again, where the price is wherever it was, $18 in the beginning of 2011, then 18, 20, 25, 30, 35, 45, 50, oh my God, within a few months. You take prices rising like that in the conditions we have right now, where people are already buying silver en masse, more so than ever before. We're on record to break all silver eagle sales ever this year, just like we were last year. It just keeps going up. Like each year, it's going to break the next year's record. And if we have precious metals spike in price, what happens every time something starts going up too rapidly? Oh, I got to get in. I got to get in before it's too late. Right? Then you have the sheeple state of mind. I got to get in. Which causes a mass influx into that market, which is going to put strain on the physical demand, which could very well push the prices even higher. However, I would not be shocked if we saw a giant spike. Let's say it goes to $60, and I don't mean this immediately in the end of November, but soon, let's just say it jumps to $60, and it may take days or weeks, and it gets there. By the time it hits 50, you're gonna hear the news and media. Well, it did it in the 1980s. It went to $50 in the 1980s, and it never came back until 2011. Then it just briefly hit 50 and crashed again. And it's been 5 years now since it's done that again, and it'll probably do it again. A lot of speculators jumped in the market. The price is probably going to go back down. And then what happens? People are going to say, well, whoa, wait. Fool me once, shame on you. Or actually, I'm going to say this like George Bush, Dodo Bird Bush said it. Cheat me once, shame on you. Or trick me once, shame on you. Trick me twice. Well, you ain't gonna trick me twice. You moron. Trick us once, shame on you. Trick us twice, shame on me. Trick us 3 times, then what? They already did it in the 1980s. Tricked us once, shame on you. They did it in 2011. Tricked us twice, shame on me, because I believed it twice. But they rigged it twice. So now they do this again. You're going to say, oh, no, I believe the mainstream when they said it, because it's been 4.5, 5 years now, and the price of silver has not moved anywhere near $40 or $50 where it was at. They're right. And then all of a sudden it does, and it even goes past that. Then what? That just crushed everything anybody who was holding back thought they knew, based off of their trust in the mainstream system. Which means all bets are off. They said this wouldn't happen again. It did. This is the third time now. I'm all in. I'm getting it now. Prices are going to probably go crazy. I'm going to have to get in on this now. It went past the freaking 50. Oh my God, it's 60. Now I know this, right? Do you understand that that will cause the panic that the webbot foresaw in advance? Panic to scramble and own silver. The only question is it about to happen right now in the very near future or not? The fact that all this other stuff is right, I'm not giving up hope even if it doesn't happen right when it said it would. This is enough for me, and always has been, to say we are going on the right track we always thought. It's just taking a little while to get there. You better hope you got your silver, because you don't want to be the one scrambling when this goes down. And it's going to happen like a thief in the night. You can feel it. Take care.